Well, first of all, I just want to say again how grateful ASCO is for being invited to participate in this meeting. Thank you to Cisco, and thank you to STO for involving ASCO in this tremendous past few days. I'd just like to congratulate again all four of the teams. I thought those were tremendous presentations done. Maybe an hour and a half, or maybe throughout the whole night, I don't know, but well done. Just another round of congratulations. The title of my talk is Building Bridges to Conquer Cancer. And I think one of the themes that we've heard over the past few days, and especially today, is collaboration, the need for us to all work together across specialties, across institutions, among societies. And this is a theme of our ASCO president this year, Dr. Sandra Swain, who has, as many of you know, has a keen interest in international collaboration and global collaboration. So I'm borrowing her theme for this talk. As I think many of you know, today ASCO is a global organization. A third of our members come from outside the United States. Actually, a majority of our meeting attendees come from outside the United States, and we publish the JCO and many other publications around the world. So that's really the mindset that we come to in these types of collaborations. ASCO, in other words, is not some organization off in Washington, D.C., but it's really an entity that's all around us and amongst us. And in some ways, we are all ASCO. So here's our membership, and so the blue countries are where we have members. We're delighted to have nearly 180 members, maybe even more today, in China. And I'm curious if we can just raise our hands. Are there any, I know there are at least some ASCO members in the audience. Can you just raise your hand if you're a member of ASCO? That's tremendous. That's fantastic. And then also we have nearly 600 attendees from outside, from China come to our meeting, and look forward to seeing many of you in Chicago in a few months. So ASCO International is really the umbrella for a series of programs that ASCO has designed to address some specific needs and issues in the global cancer community. And really just briefly, our operating model, if you will, is to link up our member experts with premier organizations like Cisco and STO, and working in partnership with these societies to address a range of issues all the way from diagnostics and treatment through cancer research, palliative care, advocacy, and so forth. And so these are some of the programs that ASCO is implementing, again, in collaboration with these societies, and we've been delighted to do a number of these programs with Cisco over the years, conducting training in areas of cancer management. We have an international clinical trials workshop which shares many of the same themes and goals as ACT China. Of course, you know the Best of ASCO International, which Cisco has been doing for a number of years. And actually, I should pause and mention that today, the Best of ASCO in China is larger than the Best of ASCO that's conducted in the United States. So it's really, it's amazing. And the International Cancer Corps is essentially a Peace Corps for cancer program that ASCO administers with its partner health volunteers overseas, sending members to hospitals in low-income countries to help to develop their care capacity. So I want to turn now, that's a little bit of background in terms of ASCO's international programs. I want to turn now to, I think, an area that is going to be especially of interest to you all, and that's in the area of grants and awards that ASCO and its philanthropic affiliate, the Conquer Cancer Foundation, offer. The first is the International Development and Education Award, or IDEA program, if you will. I think many of you are familiar with this program. This award essentially pairs young oncologists in low and middle income countries with senior ASCO member mentors, and really tries to build those relationships. Again, building bridges, building those mentoring relationships across geographies. As well, it funds the recipient to attend the ASCO annual meeting, to visit the Mentors Institution, and to receive 3 years of membership. And we've always received a tremendous response from China and participation from China in this program. You can see that just this past year, Dr. Chen and Dr. Fei, I'm curious if Dr. Fei is in the audience, or Dr. Chen. Terrifically represented in the IDEA program, and especially congratulations to Dr. Fei from right here in Guangzhou. So then the Life Award is an extension, and here's Dr. Zhang. Is Dr. Zhang in the audience by any chance? No, probably not. I think he's actually at Baylor now with his mentor. But the Life Award extends that mentor-mentee pairing, extends that relationship and allows the life recipient to spend a year at their mentor's institution in the United States or Canada. And Dr. Zhang, as I mentioned, is at Baylor, working with his mentor there. And again, Dr. Zhang from right here in Guangzhou. And in this coming year, there is specifically an award for studying breast cancer, for a Chinese recipient studying breast cancer. So I strongly recommend your making your colleagues aware of this opportunity. Now, time is short. So for both the IDEA Award and the Life Award, the applications are open now. You can see the due dates here. Especially for the Life Award, there's just 3 short weeks left. But again, I want to make sure that you're aware of this, and you all have my email address, and happy to help you in any way. And here is the websites for more information. Let me pause here for a second and just mention that all of you have handouts that have information right in front of you, information about all these awards. It has my email address on it, and then on the back side of the handout are some suggestions and tips for applying, and I'm going to get into that a little bit in this presentation, but I want to make sure that you knew that. Next, I'm going to talk about the research grants that the Foundation offers, and this starts with the Young Investigator Award, or YAA, and this is really designed to help facilitate that transition from fellowship training to cancer research. So it's for fellows who are in the final years of their fellowship training, their oncology training. And it's a $50,000 one-year award. It's conducted here. It's conducted in country, so here in China. You would need a Chinese mentor as part of the application process, and it's a research award. And then as the next stage, the Career Development Award is a larger amount of funding for 3 years, and this is for those who are in the first years of their faculty appointment. So if you think of a conveyor belt, the YAA is at the beginning of the conveyor belt from fellowship to faculty, and then the CDA is the early years of the faculty appointment. And again, it's a clinical research award. So again, I would strongly encourage you to apply for these awards or to share these opportunities with your colleagues. You have more time with these awards. They open up in July. For those of you who are members, you will receive notices about these through the Express newsletters and other ASCO communications. Again, here's the information, and there's more information in the handout that I provided. The final research award is called the Advanced Clinical Research Award, or ACRA. This is not currently open. They open up the ACRA awards as the funding comes in. So again, those of you who are members, look for announcements through ASCO communications about these awards. But this is obviously a much larger amount of funding. and it's for the 4th to 9th year of the faculty appointment, so a more experienced investigator. And again, strongly encourage you to consider these as they become available. And here are the ACRAs fund specific areas of research. So these are some of the topic areas that have been funded in the past. So I wanted also to take a little bit of time and share with you some of the feedback that we've heard from the review committees of the applications that are submitted for some of these opportunities. And before I get into these, I wanted to make sure it was clear that this is not specific to Chinese applications, but these are applications across the board. But I thought it would be helpful for you to see this as you consider applying for these opportunities. One is that, surprisingly, that applications sometimes do not specifically address each and every question that's asked in the request for proposal. So as I'm sure you know, every grant opportunity comes with an RFP, a request for proposal, that outlines all the specific things that the application must address. And so the discrepancies can be small, such as not answering a specific question, or it can be larger in terms of not understanding the intent of the award, submitting something for basic research when it's a clinical research opportunity. The second is that applications sometimes are overly ambitious. So the application may describe a 5-year research project or a YAA, which is only a 1-year award. So making sure that the project that is being submitted for these opportunities is calibrated to the actual opportunity. And so this is an important point. Sometimes in the applications, there's a lot of detail about maybe a senior mentor or other staff that are on the research team because they're a known name. But the applicant doesn't take the time to describe what is the role of the applicant in this whole proposed research project. So it's very important that the applicant specifically talk about what their role is in the research and how they fit into it. And these are, as I mentioned, these are awards that are intended to develop future investigators. So if you look at that with this mindset, you can understand that mentoring is an important component of these applications. And so the applicants need to talk about how their mentor will help to develop them and develop their expertise as part of this research award. I thought this was an interesting chart. So this describes, and I'm sorry, the circle is sort of shifted over. That's a 1%, and that's 85%. So a difference between the amount of time that applicants spend on preparing their applications and the amount of time that the review committees spend analyzing, or the weight that the review committees place on different components of the application. And so an applicant may spend a lot of time describing the background for their proposed project, and but in fact, that is a relatively lower priority for the review committee, and where the review committee is really interested in is the experimental design. And the applicant, after spending all their time preparing for the background, is spending very little time actually on the experimental design. So you want to make sure that you're spending your time appropriately and allocating your attention to the area where is most interest to the review committee. Again, mentoring and training, this is important, extremely important, especially for these opportunities, which are career development opportunities. As you're preparing your application, involve your mentor, of course, and make sure that you've developed a mentoring plan with your mentor that's part of that application. And I meant to mention this before. this is a part of the application where there can never be too much detail. More detail, more detail. Talk about, I will meet with my mentor on a weekly basis. We will go through the progress. I will attend courses like ACT China and have that detail in your application. Because again, if you think about the review committee, they're trying to find the future star investigators of the world. They want to make a good investment. They're looking for good investments. Who is going to be the future investigators? And so they want to know who is working in an environment where they're being mentored, supported, and so forth. And so you want to give them that information. So I hope that's helpful. I would encourage those of you who are not yet ASCO members to consider joining ASCO. There are different, I won't get into detail here, but there are different membership categories. I do have some membership applications. One thing that I do want to highlight is the member in training category. This is actually free. There's no cost to joining ASCO for the member in training category. And I certainly appreciate that none of you would be eligible for this category, but this is an opportunity for you to share this information with others who are in training, and because it is an opportunity for them. And the international corresponding membership is the full membership category at a reduced rate, and it's an online. You have online access or access to the online JCO, and China does qualify for this, so I'd encourage you to consider that. And thanks again to the Conquer Cancer Foundation for supporting many of these efforts, and thank you. 谢谢.
Any questions?
Yeah, that's not a good category. Yeah. So I have the pleasure and honor of working with Doug for a number of years in International Affairs Committee, and it was highly educational experience for me. And ASCO is actually an organization that works with the committee. But however, when I look into the committee list, apart from the International Affairs Committee, hardly there was any Chinese or even international participant in other committee. The question is that how would you encourage, the especially more senior member of the Chinese community to participate in the ASCO committees?
Yeah, I think this is a key point, and personally, I think ASCO, as it becomes more of a global organization, needs to reflect that global makeup throughout the organization and in the different committees, not just in the International Affairs Committee. I think this is an area where, again, networking is really important. We talk about building bridges, and for you to, for members to get to know other members, and I can certainly help in that to facilitate that process. But you're more likely to join on to the committee structure if other members know who you are and know of your work. And then the other is just, I think, an evolution of the society to having more international members on the other committees.
Marty, please.
Thanks very much, Doug. I'd like to address just a few comments, actually, what Tony had requested, and I'd like to address these in my capacity as the chairman of the Conquer Cancer Foundation of ASCO, for indeed it is Conquer Cancer Foundation that is responsible for raising the money that then is administered through the Conquer Cancer Foundation by a superb and very strict peer review process, and then the awards are made through ASCO. So the Conquer Cancer Foundation is the entity that raises money, that reviews these applications, that then makes its recommendation to our parent, and the parent is that of ASCO, that then actually makes the awards. And Doug is superb, as we all know, in bringing the internationality of ASCO and its foundation to the world. Two comments that are I think, appropriate in this context in particular. First of all, Tony, as you know, and we all acknowledged that come the end of February, there's going to be the first ever chief medical officer, and that is, of course, a member of our faculty, Rich Shilsky. And that although I'm sorry that Rich isn't here right now, he probably is taking a telecon dealing with this topic. But that Rich is clearly going to have not only a shadow that's going to cast long across the United States, but truly he's going to be international in his reach. So that those things, and Tony, as you just acknowledged, would be a perfect opportunity to dialogue with your good friend Rich Shilsky, as I think that this is the first ever CMO for ASCO. There's going to be lots of opportunity for Dr. Shilsky to have an impact directly in China. I'm very proud that you, Cisco, were the first to actually bring Dr. Shilsky to China last year. Yeah. I think he's been back 3 or 4 times since. Yeah. So that you can see that that was a very important invitation by inviting Rich here. Finally, one thing that I would just offer, again in my capacity as representing the Conquer Cancer Foundation, that as Cisco now 15 years old, I believe, the last meeting was its 15th. Next in Xiamen will be the 16th annual meeting of Cisco, and continues to develop Cisco's fundraising as an entity like the Conquer Cancer Foundation is responsible for fundraising. If ever there is a need or a desire to have collaboration in terms of fundraising with the Conquer Cancer Foundation or with the Society for Translational Oncology, here again, ACT China is an example of what's taking place right now. Even without formal relations in that sense, the very best of relations is what we've learned in China, and that is the relation called Guanxi. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Dr. Qing.
Yes. One comment and one question. The first comment, I totally agree with you. ASCO has done a lot of work, and compared to ASCO, Cisco is still a teenage. And just like China, even it's a high-speed developing, but it's still a developed country, and Cisco is also developing society. So Cisco pay much attention. How do you think of the good relationship and close friendship with ASCO? So thank you very much for your joining this SCT China too. One question is that, even just because Cisco is a developing society, and the member of Cisco just come from the nationwide hospitals, the general speaking, one physician for young physician in China, the salary per month about $500 US. So each time when we join the ASCO annual meeting, we will spend a lot, sometimes with the help of some sponsor. But one thing for our young and our junior members ask, why after we submit the registered charge, then if we want to listen to some key lecture or some meet professor, we need to pay another ticket for $75 US. So just because ASCO is a non-commercial, it's a non-profit organization, we want why, please.
Could I get some water, please? No, just kidding. No, I think that's a very good question. I wish I had a good answer for you. I think my short answer will be this is the very reason why I travel around meeting with ASCO members like yourself, because one of my responsibilities is customer service for things like this, and to bring these things back to ASCO. So I will take that. I'm going to take it back and get an answer for you. I think there are opportunities where we should have consideration for the younger trainees and younger doctors and those who have challenges like that to help them get the education that they need. So I think that's a very important point. I'm very happy to take that back. Sorry, I don't have an answer for you at this point. Yeah.
Dr. Wu, the last question.
Yeah. Now you are my boss.
Yeah.
Because I followed Dr. Lu become the member of the international affair. So you are my boss. Yeah.
No, you're my boss. We'll settle that later. Yeah.
So I also thank you very much for the Coral Cancer Foundation and the ASCO the supplies of very good opportunity to the China. So in recent 10 years, the institute we have the young physician successfully applied the IDEA. So I think this is for very great opportunity. So my question is very simple, sir. So every grant open to global or the only some the grant limited in U.S. not open to global?
No, there are none that are limited to only U.S. The limits are on the first two, IDEA and LIFE, which are specifically for low and middle income countries. The YA and CDAs are globally eligible. Now, of course, there are those are very competitive awards. So some institutions like MD Anderson has a whole kind of mechanism for supporting its fellows for applying for those awards, and so there is, I don't want to be naive about, the challenges that some institutions may have in competing initially for some of these awards. But I think you need to try, and by trying, you develop that capacity to compete.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Now the tea break time, we have only 10 minutes, so 10:40 should come back.